Video, you're watching a continuation of pie charts. From the previous video, it seemed that the didn't it didn't really explain how to make a pie chart as well as I'd like to have. So I'm going to redo this section and upload that as well so that you get a better understanding of how to draw pie charts. Once again, pie charts are used to show proportions, and just like bar graphs, they need distinct values, right? Or sorry, distinct categories, right? Comedy doesn't become action, action doesn't become romance. There's some overlap, yeah, action comedies and so on, but they are their own categories. And when you make them, you need to find out how much of a percent each category takes up, right? 35 people like apples, 30 people like oranges, 40 blueberry, 25 kiwis, 10 bananas, and 5 grapes. Well, you need to find the percentage that 35 makes up, right? 35 people out of however many like apples. Well, what is that as a percentage to the total, right? That's the only way to get the percent and the only way to make a pie chart. It's the only way to get the proportions of your pie. So apples, 35. Okay, what is that as a percent? Well, first, step one, you need a total. You need to find the total number of people in the set of data. So you just add up 35, 30, 40, 25, 10, and 5. You add them all up, you get 145. Then you look at the category you want to find the percentage of. Well, the total number of people who like apples is 35. So the way you'd get percentages, again, from from probability as well as grade 7 review, the way you get percentages is by first making a fraction, right? The number of people who like apples over the total number of people times 100. So that's 35 over 145. Now don't simplify because you are trying to get a percentage. So you don't need to simplify. It's just an extra step if you wanted to, but there's no point. Now you can use your calculator and you would get 0.24, and 0.24, so 0.24 is the same as saying 24%. So these two are the same. So we have our fraction, we have our decimal, and we have our percent, just like in probability. Now we take this percent and this decimal, and then we need to multiply them by 360. Right? You need to multiply your percent by 360. Because again, a nice circle, has 360 degrees. That's the total. So for a pie slice, so the pie slice to represent apples is 24%, that must mean that the pie slice that takes up our circle must be 24% of the circle, right? That's the only way for the apples representing 24% of the total to be accurately represented in the circle, right? So because the apple takes up the number of people who like apples is 24% of the total, the slice that represents the apples must take up 24% of the circle. So we have all our percentages here, and all we need to do then is multiply 24 as a decimal. So we go 0.24, right? That's our percent as a decimal. And multiply it by 360. And then we multiply it by 360. And whatever number you get, so if we were to do that, right, we go 360 times 0.24, boom, we have 86, right? Not quite 90 because that would make it 25. We have 86.4%. 86.4 degrees. So 24% of 360 is 86.4. So if I were to draw a rough circle, it's a terrible circle, and it would be like that. And I would properly want to use a protractor to, whoa, sorry, never used this tool before. It doesn't want to shrink now. Anyways, you want to use a protractor to correctly get your angle. So 86. 86, sorry, roughly around here, right? And so you would read your protractor and make a pie chart, right? That looks like a pie chart, pie slice, right here, right? That looks like a pie slice, right here. And that's the amount of your pie that you're going to shade in or cut off from the rest, because that represents the number of people that like apples. And so as you do that, you will get a pie chart that looks like this, using your percentage as decimals, 0.24, right? Hopefully you know how to do this already, 0.21. It's basically the same numbers, just with a decimal in front of it, 0.28. And you'd multiply each of these numbers by 360. Bananas, 7%. Remember, if you have less than 10%, you'd have 0.7, not 0.7. 0.7 is 70%. 0.7. 3%, 0.03, right? 0.03. Sorry, a bit of a sniffle. And so that will give you your percentages as decimals. You take your decimals and you multiply it by 360. That gives you the degrees. That gives you the degrees you want to measure so that you can divide up your pie slice, your pie basically, into slices that represent each percent. So hopefully that helps you understand how to draw a pie chart. Try these practice questions. We will do this in class. Basically, step one, add up all these guys together, right? 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 1 plus 4. So we'll do this quick, right? 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 1 plus 4. So we have a total of 20. Awesome. So we have 20 people in total. So then we go, let's do the first one, for example. We have 4 out of 20. So 4 out of 20, right? That's the same as saying, now if you want to simplify, it would be 1/5. But as a decimal, that's 0.2. Also represented as 20%, right? 20%. So we have 0.2, which is the same as 20%. And so when we draw our pie chart, we go 0.2 times 360. Because again, 360 is the number of angles in a circle. So 72 degrees, this angle represents 20%, right? 72 degrees is 20% of 360. So we would take our, hopefully this works again, take a protractor, right? Put it there, and then we go, all right, so we'll draw a line here. So take a protractor. I'm not going to fiddle around with trying to make it there. And then we have 20, right? Oh, sorry, not 20%, 72. So we go roughly around there, right? So I would draw a line there. So roughly, I'm going to have to eyeball it a little bit, roughly there. And that would be 20% of your circle, of your pie. And that will represent the number of people who like comedy. And so I do C for comedy. And again, I have another 4 there, so I'd probably want to do another one there. It's a little bit bigger than this one, but it's not perfect. And that would be sci-fi. So I'd put S for sci-fi. And then I would do the rest of the pie slices, doing that same thing. I would find 5 out of 20, right? Which would be 1/4. Actually, that's probably more 1/4 than anything. And then I would measure my angle. Well, I'd get my angle by finding, okay, 5 people out of 20 like action movies. 5 out of 20 is 25%. 25% of 360 is 90. So then you'd go, okay, I'd measure a 90-degree angle. And I'd put in action. Again, this is an ugly pie chart. It's just a rough visualization of what it should look like. Um, try to do this on your own, and then try and do this on your own with larger numbers. Hopefully this explains pie charts better, and I will see you in the next lesson.